I woke to the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. Through the fog of whatever they'd given me, I could barely move my fingers. My eyelids felt like lead weights. But I could hear everything. "She's out cold." That was my daughter-in-law, Victoria. Her voice had that clipped, efficient tone she used when discussing business deals. "You're sure the dose was right? My son Marcus. My boy. The one I'd raised. The one who used to bring me dandelions from the backyard. Relax. She'll be groggy for another 6 hours at least. Plenty of time to get her to sign." I lay there in my queen bed, the one Gerald and I had shared for 38 years before he passed. The winter sunlight filtered through the curtains of my Vancouver bedroom, and I couldn't even turn my head toward it. My body wouldn't obey. What if she remembers Marcus again? There was something in his voice. Fear? Guilt? I couldn't tell anymore. She won't. And even if she does, who's going to believe a 72-year-old woman with early dementia? Victoria's heels clicked across my hardwood floor. Click, 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 each step deliberate. "Your sister already thinks she's losing it. We've been planting those seeds for months." My heart would have raced if it could. Dementia. They'd been telling everyone I had dementia. I didn't have dementia. I still think we should have waited until after Marcus started. After what? After she changes her will again? After your Uncle Raymond's letter reaches her lawyer? Victoria cut him off sharp. "We're doing this now. Marcus, your mother signs over power of attorney today, or we lose everything." Uncle Raymond. My breath caught in my throat, or it would have, if I could control my breathing. Raymond had died 3 weeks ago in his sleep at his cottage in Kelowna. He was my late husband's brother, and we'd stayed close after Gerald passed. Raymond never had children, never married. He'd poured his life into his construction company and real estate investments. Last month, Raymond's lawyer called. Said Raymond had left me something substantial in his will. Wanted me to come to Kelowna for the reading. I'd planned to drive out there next Tuesday. The old man left her $4 million, Victoria. $4 million and the cottage. If Mom gets that money, she'll never sign anything over to us. Marcus's voice cracked. She'll probably leave it all to Sarah and the grandkids. Sarah. My daughter. My sweet, steady Sarah who called me every Sunday without fail. Who brought her twins over every Saturday for pancakes. Who'd looked me in the eye last month and gently suggested I might want to see a neurologist because I'd been forgetting things. I hadn't been forgetting things. "Your sister's already on board," Victoria said. I could hear her moving things on my dresser, probably looking through my papers. "She thinks you're doing the right thing by taking control of your mother's finances before she hurts herself." No, 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 no. Not Sarah, not my daughter. Once we have power of attorney, we'll contest Raymond's will. Claim your mother wasn't of sound mind when he made those provisions. We've got 6 months of documentation showing her decline. Victoria's voice was getting closer. I felt her shadow fall across my face. Look at her. Can't even keep her eyes open at 2 in the afternoon. Anyone would believe she needs help. I wanted to scream. I wanted to claw at her. I wanted to leap up and throw them both out of my house. But my body was a prison. All I could do was lie there and listen to them plot. "What about the cottage?" Marcus asked. "Can we sell it? The Kelowna property's worth at least $2 million on its own. Waterfront, 3 acres, completely renovated. We'll keep it for a few years, let the market appreciate, then sell." Victoria was at my bedside now. I could smell her perfume, something expensive and cold. But first, we need her signature. "Where are the documents?" "In my briefcase, downstairs." "Get them." "And Marcus?" Victoria's voice dropped lower. "Intimate, dangerous. This is happening today. Your mother signs, or I file for divorce and take half of everything you have, which, without this inheritance, isn't much." The door clicked shut. I heard Marcus's footsteps retreating down the stairs of my Kitsilano house. The house Gerald and I bought 47 years ago when you could still afford Vancouver real estate on a teacher's salary and a nurse's income. I was alone with Victoria. I tried to move my hand. Just my fingers. Anything. My index finger twitched. Just barely, but it twitched. "I know you can hear me." Victoria's voice was right next to my ear now. I felt the bed dip as she sat down beside me. "I've seen the research. Rohypnol doesn't knock you out completely. Not at this dose. You're awake in there, aren't you, Margaret?" My name in her mouth felt like a violation. "Here's what's going to happen. Marcus is going to bring up the papers. We're going to help you sit up, and you're going to sign power of attorney over to him. Your hand will be shaky, but that's fine. That actually helps our case." She paused. I could hear her breathing. "If you refuse, if you somehow fight through this and make a scene, I'll make sure everyone knows you tried to attack Marcus today. That you're becoming violent. That you're a danger to yourself and others." She stood up. The bed shifted. "Sarah's already half convinced. One more incident and she'll have you in a care facility before the end of the month. Is that what you want? To spend your final years drooling in some institution while we take everything you and Gerald built?" I heard her walk to the window. The curtains rustled. Raymond was a fool. Leaving everything to you. Did he really think a woman your age could handle that kind of money? Victoria laughed. It was a beautiful laugh. She had a beautiful laugh. I'd always thought so. Marcus doesn't have the spine for this. But I do. And I'm not letting some dead old man's sentimentality ruin my life. The stairs creaked. Marcus was coming back. "Smile, Margaret," Victoria whispered. "It's signing time." I needed to move. I needed to do something. My finger twitched again. Then my hand. Just slightly. The drug was wearing off. How long had I been lying here? The clock on my nightstand, if I could just see it. "Ready?" Marcus's voice from the doorway. "Let's get her sitting up," Victoria said. "Careful. We don't want her falling." They each took one of my arms. Hauled me upright. My head lolled forward. I couldn't control my neck muscles yet. The room spun. "Mom, can you hear me?" Marcus's face swam in front of mine. He looked worried. Good. He should be worried. "She's fine. Just disoriented. Right, Margaret?" Victoria propped me against my pillows. Positioned my arm on the bed tray Marcus had set up. I could see papers, legal documents, a pen. This was really happening. I tried to speak. My mouth opened. A sound came out. Not words, just a groan. "She's trying to say something," Marcus said. "She's agreeing," Victoria said firmly. She guided my hand to the pen, wrapped my fingers around it. There we go, nice and easy. The pen touched paper. Victoria was moving my hand, forcing my signature. No. I focused everything I had into my right arm. Every ounce of strength. Every bit of rage and fear and desperation. I thought about Gerald, about the life we'd built, about Sarah and the twins, about Uncle Raymond who'd worked until he was 83 and left me his life's work because he trusted me. My hand jerked. The pen skittered across the page, leaving a jagged line. Damn it. Victoria grabbed my wrist harder. "Marcus, hold her steady." "I don't think she wants to," Marcus started. "Of course she wants to. She's just weak. Hold her arm." Marcus held my arm, my own son, holding me down while his wife forged my signature. I jerked again, harder this time. The pen fell from my fingers. "This isn't working," Marcus said. His voice was rising, panicky. "Victoria, maybe we should wait until she's more coherent." "We're not waiting. Pick up the pen." "She's fighting it. She's confused." "Pick up the pen, Marcus." Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the drug wearing off. Maybe it was pure adrenaline. Maybe it was 72 years of being underestimated because I was polite. Because I was small. Because I smiled and nodded and made everyone comfortable. I bit Victoria's hand. She screamed, yanked her hand back. "You crazy bitch!" I couldn't form words yet, but I could bite. And I could make sounds. I made a sound. Loud and angry, and utterly incoherent. "Mom, what are you?" Marcus jumped back. I swung my arm, knocked the bed tray sideways. Papers flew everywhere. The pen hit the floor. I was still slumped against the pillows, barely able to hold my head up, but I was fighting, finally fighting. "Get the papers!" Victoria snapped at Marcus. She was cradling her hand. I'd broken skin. "Good. Victoria, this is insane. We can't get the papers." But I was reaching now. Slowly. So slowly. My arm felt like it weighed 100 pounds. I was reaching for my nightstand, for the drawer where I kept my phone. If I could just reach it. If I could just call Sarah, or 911, or anyone. My fingers brushed the drawer handle. Victoria saw. She lunged across the bed, slammed the drawer shut. Her face was inches from mine. Don't even think about it. I looked her in the eyes. Really looked at her. She was 39 years old. She'd been with Marcus for 12 years. I'd welcomed her into this family. I'd babysat her dog when they went to Mexico. I'd taught her my recipe for tourtière every Christmas, and she'd been planning this. For how long? Months? Years? You're going to sign, she hissed. One way or another, you're going to sign. The front door opened downstairs. Mom, Marcus, I brought the twins, Sarah's voice, bright and cheerful. We made cookies at school today. Victoria and Marcus froze. Grandma, the thunder of small feet on stairs. My granddaughter's voice. Emma, the older twin by 4 minutes. Quick, Victoria whispered to Marcus. Get those papers. We'll say she was taking a nap. Sarah appeared in the doorway, 7-year-old Emma pushing past her. Mom, sorry we're early, but the twins were so excited to... She stopped, looked at me propped up on pillows, head lolling, looked at Victoria backing away from the bed, looked at Marcus on his hands and knees gathering papers. What's going on? Nothing, Victoria said smoothly. Your mother was just resting. We were bringing her some tea. There was no tea. I tried to speak again. This time something resembling a word came out. Sa-ra. Grandma! Emma launched herself at the bed. We made chocolate chip cookies. Want one? Sweetie. Grandma's very tired right now, Marcus said, intercepting Emma. Why don't we let her sleep? But Emma had already scrambled up beside me. She was pressing a cookie into my hand. A chocolate chip cookie wrapped in a paper towel, still warm. I made it special for you, Grandma, with extra chips. I looked down at my granddaughter. Her dark curls, Gerald's curls, her gap-toothed smile, her absolute faith that I was safe and loved and would never hurt. I had to protect her. From this, from what her father had become. I focused everything into my mouth, into forming words. Sarah. It came out slurred but clear enough. Help. Sarah's expression changed. Mom? What's wrong? She's just disoriented, Victoria said. She's been confused all day. That's actually why we're here. Marcus and I think it's time we talked seriously about getting her more help. Help? Sarah looked from Victoria to Marcus to me. She needs full-time care, Marcus said quietly. She's getting worse, Sarah. You've seen it. I see my mother looking terrified right now, Sarah said. Her voice had gone very still, very quiet. When Sarah was angry, she got quiet. Why is Mom terrified? She's not terrified. She's... Marcus, why is our mother terrified? I tried to lift my arm, tried to point at the papers scattered on the floor. My arm wouldn't cooperate. But Emma, bless her, followed my gaze. Why are there papers everywhere? Emma asked. Did Grandma make a mess? Sarah bent down, picked up one of the documents. I watched her read it, watched her face change. This is a power of attorney form. Sarah, if you'd just let me explain, Marcus started. With today's date. Sarah looked up at her brother. Mom's signature line is blank. Why are you trying to get Mom to sign power of attorney papers while Emma and I are at school? Because she needs help managing her affairs. Victoria's voice rose. She can barely remember what day it is. Last week she called Marcus at 3 a.m. thinking it was noon. That was a lie. I'd never called Marcus at 3 a.m. Mom? Sarah came to the bedside, put her hand on my shoulder. Did you call Marcus at 3 a.m. last week? I shook my head. The movement was tiny, but deliberate. She doesn't remember, Victoria said. That's the point. She seems to remember right now, Sarah said. Her voice was sharp. Sharp like her grandmother's voice. My mother had been sharp, whip-smart and sharp-tongued, and she'd taught me to smile and be pleasant because the world didn't like sharp women. But Sarah had inherited some of that sharpness. And right now, I was grateful for it. Where's your tea? Sarah asked suddenly. What? Marcus blinked. You said you were bringing Mom tea. Where is it? Silence. And why is Victoria's hand bleeding? I'd forgotten about the bite. Victoria quickly tucked her hand behind her back. I scraped it on the bedpost. That's a bite mark, Sarah said flatly. I'm a nurse, Victoria. That's a human bite mark. Emma looked from her mother to her father to Victoria. Why did Grandma bite Aunt Victoria? She didn't mean to, sweetie, Marcus said weakly. Grandma's just confused. Grandma doesn't look confused, Emma said, peering at my face. She looks mad, out of the mouths of babes. Sarah pulled out her phone. What are you doing? Victoria demanded. Calling 911. Something's very wrong here. Don't you dare, Victoria said. You'll embarrass your mother. She's having an episode. Then the paramedics can confirm that, Sarah said, already dialing. and they can explain why she can barely move but manage to bite you hard enough to break skin. Sarah, please, Marcus said. You're overreacting. Am I? Then you won't mind me calling for help. Sarah's eyes never left her brother's face. Unless there's a reason you don't want paramedics here? The room went very quiet. I could hear Emma crunching her cookie beside me. Marcus broke first. He always did. Even when he was small, he'd break under pressure, confess before he was even accused. We gave her something to help her sleep. You what? Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. Just something mild. She's been so agitated. We thought, you drugged our mother? Sarah looked at him like he was a stranger. Marcus, you drugged Mom? It was just to help her rest. While you forged her signature on legal documents? Sarah held up the power of attorney form. This is elder abuse, Marcus. This is a crime. It's not like that, Victoria said. She'd stepped forward now, composed again, calculating. Your mother needs help, Sarah. She's not capable of managing Raymond's inheritance. Marcus and I are trying to protect her. From what? From having $4 million? Sarah's voice was rising now. Or are you protecting her from being able to say no to you? Emma had gone very still beside me. She'd stopped eating her cookie. Emma, sweetie, why don't you go downstairs? Sarah said gently. I want to stay with Grandma, Emma said. Her little hand found mine, squeezed. The strength in that small hand. I squeezed back. Barely, but I squeezed back. Grandma squeezed my hand, Emma announced. She's waking up. I was waking up. The fog was lifting. I could feel my toes now. I could move my head more deliberately. I could almost speak clearly. Everyone needs to calm down, Victoria said. Sarah, you're being hysterical. Your mother took a sleeping pill and got confused. That's all. What did you give her? Sarah demanded. What drug? I need to know if I'm calling the paramedics. Marcus and Victoria exchanged a look. It was just over-the-counter stuff, Marcus said. Nothing serious. What? Drug? Does it matter? Victoria snapped. She's fine. She's waking up. No harm done. No harm? Sarah's voice cracked. You tried to steal power of attorney while she was incapacitated. You were forcing her to sign papers. How is that no harm? We were helping her, Victoria said. But her voice had lost its certainty. She was looking at the phone in Sarah's hand. At me, increasingly alert on the bed. At Emma, witness to everything. Marcus, we should go. You're not going anywhere, Sarah said. She'd completed the 911 call. I could hear the tinny voice of the dispatcher. Yes, I need paramedics and police. My brother just drugged my mother and tried to forge her signature on legal documents. Sarah, don't, Marcus pleaded. Please. We can work this out. You drugged Mom. I was trying to help. Help yourself to her money, you mean? Sarah was crying now, angry tears streaming down her face. I defended you. When people said you only married Victoria for her family's money, I defended you. When Dad died, and you barely visited Mom for 6 months, I made excuses for you. And this whole time, you were planning this? Marcus's face crumpled. I'm in debt, Sarah. Serious debt. The business failed. I'm about to lose the house. I have nothing. Nothing. So you decided to steal from Mom? It's not stealing. Raymond left her that money. But she's old, Sarah. She doesn't need it. We do. Our family needs it. Your family? Sarah gestured at Emma and me. We're your family, Marcus. Mom is your family. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Sarah's voice had gone cold. You saw Mom as an ATM, and when she wouldn't give you money, you decided to take it. The power of attorney was for her own good. Really? Then why did you drug her first? Why not just ask her to sign when she was lucid? Silence. Because she would have said no, I managed to say. The words came out thick and slow, but they came. I would have said no. Everyone turned to look at me. Mom! Sarah was at my side immediately. Don't try to talk. The paramedics are coming. No. I shook my head. Clearer now. Need to. Talk. Emma was still holding my hand. I looked at her. Then at Marcus. My son, who looked so much like Gerald, who had Gerald's smile and Gerald's hands, and none of Gerald's integrity. I would have helped you. I said to Marcus. The words were coming easier now. If you'd asked. If you'd told me you were in trouble. I would have helped. Mom, his voice broke. But you didn't ask. You drugged me. You tried to steal from me. I took a breath. It hurt. Everything hurt. You brought her into my home. I looked at Victoria, into the house your father and I built. And you plotted to take everything. Mrs. Chen, if you'd just Victoria started. My name is Margaret, and you will call me Mrs. Chen. I'd found my voice. Finally. You will leave my house. Both of you. Now. Mom, please, Marcus said. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're not sorry, I said. You're caught. Sirens in the distance. Getting closer. Victoria grabbed Marcus's arm. We're leaving. The power of attorney is void anyway. She's clearly competent. Actually, Sarah said, still holding her phone, I've been recording this entire conversation. From the moment I walked in. Victoria went pale. You what? Every word, Sarah said. You admitting you drugged her. You talking about forging signatures. All of it. That's illegal, Victoria hissed. Recording without consent is perfectly legal in British Columbia when documenting a crime, Sarah said. I'm a mandatory reporter, Victoria. I legally have to document suspected elder abuse. The sirens were on our street now. Marcus, we're leaving, Victoria said. She was already moving toward the door, but Marcus stood there, looking at me, at his son's mother, at the woman who'd sat up with him, through colic and nightmares and teenage heartbreak. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I know, I said, and I meant it. I could see the little boy in his face, the one who'd brought me dandelions. But you still have to go. Victoria grabbed his hand, pulled him toward the door. They passed the paramedics on the stairs. I heard Victoria talking fast, explaining it was all a misunderstanding. They were just leaving, no need for concern. The police arrived 30 seconds later. Sarah showed them the recording. I gave a statement from my bed, still groggy but getting clearer by the minute. The female officer, Constable Rodriguez, was patient. She asked questions slowly, took notes, photographed Victoria's bite mark, collected the power of attorney papers as evidence. Do you want to press charges, Mrs. Chen? She asked gently. I looked at Sarah, at Emma, who'd fallen asleep beside me, still holding my hand, at the life I'd built in this house, in this city, with Gerald. Yes, I said. I want to press charges. Constable Rodriguez nodded. That's your right. We'll be in touch. The paramedics checked me over. They wanted to take me to the hospital for blood work, to confirm what I'd been given. Sarah agreed immediately, went downstairs to wake Emma's twin brother, Ethan, who'd fallen asleep in the living room, called her husband to meet us at Vancouver General. As they wheeled me out on the stretcher, I looked back at my bedroom, at the space where Victoria and Marcus had stood over me, at the bed where I'd lain paralyzed and terrified. I was 72 years old. I'd lived through a war in my birth country, immigrated to Canada with $50 and a dream, raised 2 children on shift work wages, watched my husband die slowly of cancer, and rebuilt a life alone. And I'd survived this, too. In the ambulance, Sarah held my hand. I'm so sorry, Mom, she said. I should have known. I should have seen. You did see, I interrupted. Today, when it mattered, but I believed them. About the dementia, about you forgetting things. I actually thought they were very convincing, I said. That was the plan. Sarah wiped her eyes. What are you going to do? About Marcus? I didn't answer right away. I watched the city slide past through the ambulance windows. Vancouver in February. Gray skies and rain and cherry blossoms just starting to bud despite the cold. I don't know yet, I said finally. But first, I'm going to Kelowna. To hear Raymond's will, to accept what he left me. Do you want me to come with you? Yes, I said. Bring the twins. Let them see the cottage. Let them see what their great-uncle built. Sarah nodded. Then, hesitantly, Mom, the recording. If you want, we don't have to give it to the police. We could handle this privately. Keep it in the family. I understood what she was asking. She was giving me an out. A way to protect Marcus. To keep this quiet. To handle it the way our family had always handled conflict. Quietly. Politely. With smiles and excuses and sweeping things under the rug. No, I said. Give them the recording. All of it. Are you sure? I thought about the moment I'd heard Victoria's voice. Just make it look natural. I thought about my son's hands holding me down while his wife forged my signature. I thought about the years of lies they'd told, the rumors they'd spread, the careful construction of a narrative in which I was the problem. "I'm sure," I said. "Some things can't be kept in the family. Some things need light. At the hospital, they confirmed Rohypnol in my system. Victoria had used the date rape drug on me, her own mother-in-law. The doctor who examined me was young, maybe 30. She looked at me with such gentleness. 'Mrs. Chen,' she said, 'you were very brave today. You fought when you couldn't fight. You protected yourself when you were vulnerable. That takes incredible strength. I'd never thought of myself as brave. I'd spent 72 years being agreeable, being helpful, being the woman who made everyone comfortable. But maybe there was a different kind of bravery. The kind that bites when it has to. The kind that says no when everyone expects yes. The kind that presses charges against your own child because some betrayals are too great to forgive with silence.' Marcus and Victoria were arrested that evening. The charges were serious. Administering a noxious substance, attempted fraud, elder abuse, financial exploitation of a vulnerable person. Marcus called me from the police station. Sarah had given me my phone back. I saw his name on the screen, considered not answering, but I answered. 'Mom,' his voice was wrecked. 'Mom, please, can we talk?' 'We are talking,' I said. 'I mean, can I see you? Can I explain?' 'There's nothing to explain, Marcus. I was there. I heard everything. I was desperate. The business failed. Victoria's family cut us off. I was about to lose everything. I just needed—' 'You needed my money,' I said. 'Not me. My money.' 'That's not true. I love you, Mom.' 'Do you?' I asked. It was a genuine question, because if you love someone, you don't drug them. You don't hold them down. You don't steal from them. I wasn't going to steal. Marcus. I closed my eyes. Stop lying. Please. Just this once. Stop lying. A long silence. Then, I don't know how to fix this. 'You can't,' I said simply. 'This isn't fixable. So that's it? You're just going to let them put me in prison? I'm not putting you anywhere. You did that yourself.' I paused. 'I would have helped you, you know, if you'd asked. If you'd been honest. Would you?' His voice was bitter now. 'Really? Because every time I've asked you for money over the years, you've said no. I said no to funding your cryptocurrency investments. I said no to being a silent partner in a bar. I said no to giving you $50,000 for a business opportunity you couldn't explain. I kept my voice steady. Those weren't needs, Marcus. Those were wants. And yes, I said no. Because you never believed in me. That's not true. Dad always said I didn't have his work ethic. You both thought I was weak. And there it was. The real wound. The one I'd never seen because I'd been too busy trying not to compare him to his father. 'Your father thought you were brilliant,' I said quietly. 'He worried about you because you were brilliant and impatient, and you wanted success faster than life gives it. That's not weakness. That's just being young.' He never said that to me. He said it to me. All the time. 'Our boy's going to do great things,' I echoed Gerald's voice. 'Just needs to learn patience.' Marcus was crying. I could hear it in his breathing. 'But you didn't learn patience,' I continued. 'You learned shortcuts. And shortcuts led you here.' 'I'll go to prison,' he said. 'Probably. I'll lose everything.' 'You already did,' I said. 'The moment you put that drug in my tea.' 'Mom, I have to go, Marcus. Sarah's waiting. Will you visit me?' His voice was small. 'If I go to prison, will you visit?' I didn't know how to answer that, so I said, 'We'll see.' I hung up before he could respond. Sarah drove me home that night. The twins were asleep in the back seat. The house was dark, crime scene tape across my bedroom door. I'd have to sleep in the guest room. 'Stay with us tonight,' Sarah offered. 'You shouldn't be alone,' but I wanted to be alone. I needed to be alone. 'I'll be fine,' I said. 'And Sarah, thank you. For seeing, for believing me.' She hugged me hard. 'I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart.' After they left, I stood in my living room. The house was so quiet. I could hear the furnace clicking on, the refrigerator humming, the Douglas fir tree in the backyard scraping against the window in the wind. I went to the guest room, lay down on the bed, stared at the ceiling. I thought about calling someone, a friend, my sister in Ontario, someone to process what had happened. But instead, I pulled out my phone and looked up Uncle Raymond's lawyer's number, called and left a message. 'This is Margaret Chen,' I said. 'I'm confirming for Tuesday. For the will reading. I'll be there.' Then I set the phone aside and closed my eyes. I dreamed of Gerald that night. We were young again, walking through Stanley Park, the twins Sarah and Marcus, both 4 years old, running ahead of us. In the dream, Gerald took my hand. "You did good today, Maggie," he said. He was the only one who called me Maggie. "You fought back." "I had to," I said. "I know. I'm proud of you." I woke up at dawn. The house was cold. I made tea, stood at the kitchen window and watched the sunrise paint the mountains pink. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "How are you feeling?" "Tired," I wrote back. "But okay. The police want to talk to you again, and Marcus's lawyer wants to meet." Of course he did. There would be lawyers now, meetings, negotiations, pressure to drop the charges, to consider Marcus's future, to think about the family. But I was thinking about the family. That's exactly what I was doing. Later that morning, I sat at my kitchen table with Constable Rodriguez. "We have enough to prosecute," she said. "With Sarah's recording and your medical evidence, it's a strong case. But I need to know you're prepared for what comes next. This will be hard. Family cases always are." "I understand," I said. "Marcus's lawyer is already talking about his mental state. Financial stress. Claims Victoria coerced him." "Did she?" I asked. "Does it matter?" "He held you down, Mrs. Chen. He helped drug you. He was willing to forge your signature." "Yes," I said, "he was." "So you want to proceed?" I looked around my kitchen, at the crayon drawing Emma had left on my fridge last week, at the photo of Gerald and me on our wedding day, at the shelf where I kept my mother's teacups, the ones she'd brought from Hong Kong 60 years ago. "I want to proceed," I said. "But I have conditions." Constable Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "What conditions?" "I want Marcus to plead guilty. No trial. No dragging Sarah and the twins through testimony. He pleads guilty, accepts responsibility, and I'll consider a lighter sentence recommendation." "That's generous." "It's strategic," I corrected. "I don't want my grandchildren watching their father fight this in court. I don't want them to hear, in detail, what he did. They'll know enough. They don't need to know everything. And Victoria? She can fight it if she wants. But I want the maximum sentence for her." Constable Rodriguez wrote that down. "Because she was the ringleader? Because she showed no remorse," I said. "Marcus is weak. Marcus is desperate. Marcus broke under pressure. Victoria calculated every move. She would have drugged me again if it benefited her. She would have done worse." "Noted," Constable Rodriguez said. "I'll communicate this to the Crown Prosecutor." After she left, I called Raymond's lawyer back, told him I was coming to Kelowna, asked if I could bring family. "Of course," he said. "Mr. Winters left some personal items for you as well. Letters, photos. He wanted you to have them." "Did he know?" I asked suddenly. "About Marcus?" A pause. "Let's discuss that when you're here, Mrs. Chen." So Raymond had known. Somehow, he'd known. That Tuesday, Sarah and I drove to Kelowna. The twins came too. We made it an adventure, stopped at fruit stands, let the kids run around at rest stops, tried to make it normal. Raymond's lawyer's office overlooked Okanagan Lake. The water was steel gray under the winter sky, beautiful and cold. "Thank you for coming, Mrs. Chen," the lawyer said. His name was Trevor Morrison. He was older, maybe 70 himself. "Raymond spoke of you often. You were very dear to him." "He was dear to me too," I said. "Sarah, would you mind watching the children in the waiting room? This might take a while." Sarah nodded, took the twins out. Morrison waited until the door closed. "Raymond changed his will 8 months ago," Morrison said. "Shortly after Marcus visited him with a business proposal." My heart sank. What kind of proposal? A real estate investment scheme. Marcus wanted Raymond to co-sign a loan. $600,000. Promised huge returns. Morrison slid a folder across the desk. Raymond said no, but he did some investigating afterward. Found out Marcus had pitched similar schemes to 3 other family members. All rejected. I opened the folder. Bank statements, credit reports, court documents. Marcus's financial life laid bare. Debt, bad investments, a pattern of borrowing and failing to repay. Raymond hired a private investigator, Morrison continued. Not to spy, but to understand what Marcus needed, whether he could help. And the investigator reported that Marcus and Victoria had begun talking about you, about your health, about concerns that you were declining. Morrison pulled out another document. This is a report from 6 months ago. The PI observed Victoria making calls to your neighbors, asking if they'd noticed you forgetting things, leaving appliances on, getting confused. She'd been planting seeds, creating a narrative. For 6 months. Raymond was alarmed, Morrison said gently. He wanted to protect you, so he revised his will, left you everything, and he left you this. He handed me an envelope. My name in Raymond's handwriting. I opened it with shaking hands. Dear Maggie, it read. I smiled. He'd called me Maggie too, Gerald's brother. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry for that. I would have liked a few more years. But I'm not sorry about what I'm leaving you. Gerald loved you more than life itself. When he died, I promised him I'd watch over you. I haven't done a great job. I was busy. I was selfish with my time. But I tried to pay attention. I saw what Marcus was becoming. I saw the debt, the desperation, and I saw Victoria circling you like a shark. I couldn't let it happen, Maggie. I couldn't let them take advantage of you after everything you've survived. So I'm leaving you the money, the cottage, everything. Not because you need it, but because you deserve it, and because I know you'll use it wisely. But more than that, I'm leaving you proof. Talk to Trevor. He has documentation of everything Victoria and Marcus have been planning. Use it if you need to. Protect yourself. I wish I could be there to help you through what's coming, but I believe in you, Maggie. You're stronger than you think, stronger than they realize. Give them hell. Love, Raymond. I cried then. Sitting in that lawyer's office, overlooking the lake, I cried for Raymond, for Gerald, for the version of Marcus that had died somewhere along the way. He loved you very much, Morrison said quietly. I know. I managed. The estate is substantial. 4 million in investments in cash. The cottage and land, valued at approximately 2.3 million. Some personal items. It's all yours, Mrs. Chen. No strings. No conditions. Just Raymond's wish that you be taken care of. $6.3 million. More money than I'd ever imagined having. More than Gerald and I had earned in our entire working lives combined. There's one more thing, Morrison said. He pulled out a USB drive. The private investigator's full report, including video footage of Victoria making calls to your neighbors. Audio recordings of Marcus discussing getting power of attorney before the old man's money reaches her. All legally obtained through public observation and consenting third parties. Evidence. Raymond had left me evidence. Why didn't he warn me? I asked. If he knew, why didn't he just tell me? Morrison smiled sadly. He tried. 3 months ago, he called you, asked if Marcus had been pressuring you about anything. Do you remember? I did remember. I'd brushed it off, told Raymond that Marcus was just worried about me, that he was being a good son. You defended him, Morrison said. Raymond realized you weren't ready to hear it, so he prepared this instead. Made sure you'd have everything you needed when the time came. When the time came, when Marcus finally showed his hand. Thank you, I said. For everything. It was my honor, Morrison said. Raymond was a good man, and he thought the world of you. After the meeting, Sarah and I took the twins to the cottage. Raymond's cottage. My cottage now. It was beautiful. 3,000 square feet of cedar and glass perched above the lake. The trees had been pruned to frame the water view. The deck wrapped around 3 sides. Inside, everything was clean and modern. Raymond had renovated 2 years ago. Grandma, this is amazing. Emma ran from room to room. Can we come here in summer? Can we swim in the lake? Yes, I said. We can come here whenever you want. Sarah stood in the living room, looking out at the water. Mom, this is incredible. Raymond left you an incredible gift. He left me protection, I said. That's what this is, protection. That night, we stayed at the cottage. I gave the twins the bunk room. Sarah took the guest room. I slept in the master, Raymond's room. It still smelled faintly of his cologne, Old Spice, the same kind Gerald used to wear. I lay in bed and thought about what came next. The trial, the sentencing, the family fallout. People would have opinions. They'd say I was cruel. They'd say I should forgive Marcus. Family is family. Blood is thicker than water. But some water is poisoned, and some blood is toxic. I had to protect myself. I had to protect Sarah and the twins. I had to show them that you can love someone and still refuse to be destroyed by them. In the morning, I called Marcus's lawyer, set up a meeting, Laid out my terms. Marcus pleads guilty. No trial. In exchange, I'd recommend 5 years instead of 10. He'd serve time. He'd lose his professional license. But he'd eventually get out. Eventually rebuild. Marcus agreed. He had no choice. The evidence was overwhelming. Victoria fought. Went to trial. Was convicted on all counts. Got 12 years. Sarah and I testified. I told the jury about lying paralyzed in my bed. About hearing my son agree to forge my signature. About my daughter-in-law's voice saying, "Just make it look natural." The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Came back with guilty verdicts on everything. When the sentence was read, Victoria turned to look at me. Her eyes were full of hate. Pure, undiluted hate. I looked back at her. Didn't smile. Didn't frown. Just looked. She'd underestimated me. They all had. The polite old lady who made tea and smiled and never caused trouble. But I was Gerald's wife. I was my mother's daughter. I was a woman who'd survived war and immigration and widowhood and cancer scares and economic crashes and every other thing life had thrown at me. I was not weak. I had never been weak. I'd just been kind. And people mistake kindness for weakness. They won't make that mistake again. Marcus is in prison now. Fraser Regional Correctional Center. He writes to me sometimes. Long letters about what he's learning, who he's met, how he's changed. I read them. Don't always respond. But I read them. Sarah thinks I should cut contact completely. Maybe she's right, but he's still my son. Even after everything, he's still my son. That doesn't mean I forgive him. It just means I acknowledge the connection. I sold my house in Kitsilano. Too many ghosts. Moved into the cottage full-time. Sarah and the twins visit every month. We swim in the lake in summer, make hot chocolate in winter, watch the ospreys fish at dawn. I started a foundation with Raymond's money. The Gerald and Raymond Chen Foundation for Elder Protection. We fund legal aid for seniors experiencing financial abuse. We train healthcare workers to recognize the signs. We lobby for stronger laws. Victoria was right about one thing. I'm old, but I'm not weak, and I'm not done. Last week, Marcus's earliest parole hearing. He asked if I'd attend, speak on his behalf. I thought about it for days. Talked to Sarah. Talked to the twins, who are 12 now and old enough to understand. It's your choice, Grandma, Emma said. But remember what you always tell us. Some people say sorry because they're sorry. Some people say sorry because they're caught. My granddaughter, wise beyond her years, I decided not to attend. Wrote a letter instead. Said that Marcus had made his choices. He needed to live with the consequences. That prison was where he needed to be right now. For himself, for his healing. Parole was denied. He'll serve at least 3 more years. I don't feel guilty about that. I probably should. But I don't. I'm 76 now. 4 years since that February day when I woke up paralyzed in my own bed. 4 years since I learned what my son was capable of. I'm not bitter. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just clear. Clear about who I am. Clear about what I deserve. Clear about the fact that love doesn't mean tolerating abuse. People in town know my story. Some think I'm harsh. Some think I'm brave. I don't care much either way. I know what I am. I'm a survivor. Same as I've always been. The cherry blossoms are out today. I can see them from my deck. Pink and white against the blue lake. Gerald would have loved this view. Raymond did love this view. That's why he left it to me. I'm having tea on the deck when my phone rings. It's Sarah. Mom, Marcus's lawyer called. Marcus wants to talk to you. Says it's important. About what? He wouldn't say. Just said Marcus is asking for a conversation. A real one. I watch the blossoms drift down. Landing on the water. Floating away. Tell him I'll think about it, I say. And I will think about it. That's all I'm promising. Thought. Because I've learned something in these 4 years. You can be kind without being a victim. You can be forgiving without being foolish. You can love someone and still refuse to let them hurt you. I'm done being the woman who says yes when she means no. Done being pleasant when she's uncomfortable. Done making everyone else comfortable at the expense of my own safety. If that makes me hard, so be it. I'd rather be hard than destroyed. The sun is setting now. The lake turns gold. I finish my tea. Stand up. Stretch. Tomorrow, maybe I'll call Marcus. Maybe I won't. But tonight, I'm here. In this cottage that Raymond left me. with this life that I've built, with these boundaries that I've set, and I'm free. Finally, wonderfully, completely free.